Today we're interviewing Maria Chills, the owner and operator of Viva, Feliz adult daycare in Homestead, Florida. The point of today's interview is really to introduce our viewers to social adult daycare as a business model for healthcare entrepreneurship. A lot of people who are looking to kind of start their own business in healthcare aren't that familiar with adult day. It's something that I'm familiar with coming from my home care background. And I want to kind of walk people through what your journey has been like so that they get a good idea of what this business is like and what they can come to expect. Why did you decide to start an adult daycare?
I worked before with kids and I worked before with adults. I worked in a clinic that was a mental clinic. I always been close to them. I'm a person that I care about the elderly pretty much. I do care about their needs, and I saw the chance to get in this knowing nothing. So basically, I've always cared for the elderly people. I think that this community, they don't get the respect that they should. They don't get their needs met as they should. I see how everybody in here, the medical clinics and everything, how they treat them sometimes. To them, they're just a number, and they're just represent a number, pretty much money. And it is more than that to them in their lives. And I really like to get involved in everything they do. I help them in everything I can. I see the need to help them in anything, I do. And it's something that I'm really good at. They adore me, pretty much. Also, I want to make a career out of it. I had to choose many times different careers in my life, and it's just a step that I decided to do, and so far it's been hell, but I've been doing it.
Before getting into this business, did you ever work in home care or in healthcare? Like, what was the first time that you actually saw this as a business model and you thought, this is something that I could do?
When I saw other business models, example, I used to work in a clinic that was a mental clinic, and I saw what they did, how it worked, the program. And I said, this program is not good. It would benefit them more if they would make some changes. And then I discovered that in adult daycare is pretty much what they used to do, but more in detail, their needs. Like in there, they used to sit down for hours pretty much, and they used to have therapists speak to them about different topics that they need help on, like financial topics, like how to deal with your payments, how to pay things, how to deal with not sleeping, how to deal with family members being not nice to you or not talking to you, your sons and daughters not talking to you, and all the difficulties that they go through because they have feelings, and and they're old, and sometimes they don't, even if they want to reach out and ask help from somebody, they don't know how to do it. They don't have anybody to do it. Mostly other family members are very busy working, and they don't have time for them. Right. So I saw that model, and I said, you know what, this could be better, because it's more in their needs, pretty much. It's like they could talk here anytime, they could talk to me at any time. Whenever I'm doing something, they come sit, I say, pull a chair, sit down, and sometimes I listen to them, and I'm being a therapist, I'm being a psychiatrist, I am being a beautician when I do the makeup and I do the hair, I am being, when I do games with them, I'm being like their daughters, so I said to myself, I'm gonna do something like this. I really would love to help them more. And basically, almost all of them, they know my face. From when you used to open the door, I was the first door, I was administration. I was like the right hand. I was like paperwork. But I said to myself, there's things I need to better here. Like example, I would say, Mother's Day, why don't you bring, mariachis or something to make them happy? Oh, no, it's okay. I say, well, I'll pay for it. Oh, no, don't spend the money on that. Don't do it. I'm like, why they're not giving everything they got to them? I mean, it's their time there. So I said, I want something that they actually enjoy more, little details here and there. And that's what I do to them. I surprise them with things and things like that.
The name of the company is Viva Feliz,
right,
which means
and the name says be happy, and that's the thing that I created for them. I want them to be happy at all times. I feel that right now, the elderly people suffer a lot for many things right now. Not financially, they suffer a lot also emotionally. The kids, half of them don't talk to them. They only call whenever they need something. And there's a lot of misinformation to them. They don't tell them no one explains to them their benefits, and nobody explains nothing to them. Like they have Medicare. That's it. That's all they know. And they go to the doctor, but they don't know what's out there. All the benefits are there. Mostly the people that are here, I applied. I helped them do the alliance. They didn't know about it. In Florida, that's not something that you spoke and you say, oh, you have Medicare, you're fine. No, you need the extra health benefits that only you get from there. And that's never been explained. All these clinics that they go to, all this money that they make from them, no one explains, you know what? You need this help. You want me to help you? They don't offer that. They don't care, pretty much. So it's a lot of them don't even know about the program.
There are things that are specific to certain communities that being a member of that community helps you understand, right? This is a social adult daycare, and the people in this daycare have their customs. I see they're playing dominoes in the corner. That's a familiar game for that community. And the idea of having a social adult daycare is to have that social element that keeps the people engaged, because with age, losing that social dimension actually causes them to age faster, depression, develop eating disorders, mental issues. So you are now occupying a niche that is necessary for a community that is oftentimes overlooked. What are you doing for the Latino community to ensure that they're getting the help that they need?
I have a voice and I like to use it. I always ask what I don't know because this is something new to me. I am familiar with handling a business. I am familiar with doing that because I've been everybody's assistant all these years. But basically, it's instructing them, giving them knowledge. I've been trying to give them knowledge.
You spoke of the Alliance program earlier, which is part of the process of them getting long-term care insurance.
Long-term care insurance, and half of them, mostly all of them, do not get it. You have to go through a big process, and they're not ready. They don't. How can I explain? Sometimes they lack remembering things. They lack writing things down, and you pretty much need someone to guide you, hold you in the hand, and guide you step by step because they do not know the process. Half of them, when they do it by themselves, they get denied. They don't say half of the things that they need to say that they have. That program, they have not given a lot of attention. They haven't put it out. They haven't put it out there. Pretty much how the program is. They don't advertise. It's really hard to get in. It's really hard to get in. I've helped a lot of people like I'm a family member. Pretty much, I consider myself a family member to them, basically. And a lot of them came. They refer me friends. Oh, can you help my neighbor in my building? He has the same thing. He has the same problem, and he wants to go to daycare, and he wants to be able to have an education, help him go in the house and cook for them, or help them take a bath or whatever. They don't know how to reach out. I believe there's only one insurance, and I don't want to give. I'm gonna have to props up for them. I'm gonna have to simply. It's pretty much the only insurance out there that does handle some of that area. Like if the doctor says you need help in the house, they'll sign on it and they'll get hours, basic hours just to help them. But it's not for a long time, and it's the only insurance that I know out there that actually does that. But this is something like it's forever. It's till they die. Pretty much, a lot of them have family members. A lot of them have family members, and it's like they don't even have them. So I've been helping one by one. I have 22 people here right now. Basically, only one person came with Alliance. All 21 of them, I've had to help them. They have recommended me friends of the building, their neighbors, this and that. And I said, I don't have that much time, but I will help you as much as I can. And I've been guiding them because, like I said, they don't. It's not something they advertise. It's not something that they say to you. All these letters that they say, no, you have Medicare, Medicaid, and you could do, your vision, you could do your dent, that's more important than what they're having, because that's something till they die, pretty much. And they didn't know that existed. They didn't know.
Right.
And the community, the Hispanic community, they don't teach them that much things. They don't explain that much things to them. For
you get into this business, you're now 1 year in. what has been your process from start to this point? What
Hell.
were some of the steps?
Hell and more hell. But I'm still here because I don't give up.
What were some of the steps that you took to get started?
So the first step you need to do, you need to have your money first. You have to have your money sitting there because you are going to be needing money. When you start this business, you are going to need a lot of money.
How much would you say would be kind of the safe number for someone?
Well, the safe numbers, I believe, for ACA, when you start doing things like that, believe it's like 50, 60, 75,000, something like that. They do have a number. They do have a number when you actually start doing your things. But let me rewind, because way before that, you need to first find the right place. And that's where I spent a lot of money, not knowing. No one taught me, no one told me. It's not the same thing finding a place and making it and changing the
look and feel of the place?
No. See, every place that you rent that's rentable, it has
A certificate of occupancy.
thank you. Yeah. And pretty much, if it's for a church, if it's for a school. Sometimes you cannot make changes. Usually you can, but not all the time. So you could be stuck with a place that you cannot make the changes. You need to make the changes of the occupancy, whatever it is for. You need to change it. So if someone would have gave me a little explanation of how to avoid that, I would avoid paying $50,000 right there and then.
So the space that we're in now didn't have the certificate of occupancy for the use that
For
you
the
wanted.
use, I had to change the use. And some states and some cities are more, some are less difficulty. In here, it was very difficult. It took me 1 year.
So the thing.
Changing the use.
So the first step, in your opinion, looking back, is that find a space that's going to fit the regulations for.
No, I'm gonna bypass all that. I'm gonna save you a lot of money. If someone would have told me the right way of doing it, I would have saved so much money. Okay, here's what you need to do. You need to go in NACA, and you need to, there's just, everything's public records. You see everything there. You need to go in there, and you need to go in NACA and see how many daycares are in Florida. Find the area that you want to target, where you want to do your business, okay? Now, then go in NACA, and go and look in there what daycares have closed, which ones have opened, which ones are pending to open. Now, a lot of them, because of the pandemic and a lot of things, they've closed a lot of daycares, okay? So I have a friend of mine that had that idea, and I'm like, it's a little bit too late for me. But she went and did that, and she said, okay, let me start looking, what daycares are closed. I'm gonna go and see if they're actually rentable, the place. And they've been approved before for that, even if they had changed the use. You could always rewind and change the use again to what it used to be, because they once approved it. So she did that within 3 months. She had all the licenses and everything in the actual city to open the business, because it used to be a daycare before. So even if it wasn't, she was able to reverse that, the change of use.
Okay.
Now at mine, I said it's a big place, it's the right area. I live 2 minutes away. Anything I need to do, I just go and come back, and I'm in my house. So to me, that's important. I want to be close. I have to come 20 times here. I don't have to spend gas. It's close to me. But like I said, if you look in there, there's been a lot of places that they're closed. And
Kind of getting started in one of those existing spaces would
they
help.
used to be before, right? They used to be already approved for that. So you could always reverse it. And even though it used to be, a pharmacy, you could always reverse it back. It's much easier. It's really time consuming. It will take you 2, 3, 4 months, not a year like it took me.
Gotcha. Now, is the actual application difficult?
That I didn't do myself. That one of the things that I pay a consultant, because it was pretty much complicated. It's pretty much complicated, and you got to do it right from the get-go, because if not, it could come back and it takes more time. And so I pay someone that had the knowledge.
Gotcha. No,
I mean, I'm sure I could have done it, but I'm sure it would have been like everything else, that it took me longer to do, because I didn't know that. I had the power, I had the the intention to do it, but I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, I have the same story. When my mother and I started our home care agency in New York, we did everything ourselves. And it took years from the application process to the final approval. I would never do that again because the amount of
Time is money.
the amount
Time
of
is
time that
money.
we put in trying to put together our own policy and procedures, sending it back and forth to the state, it getting rejected. It's just a lot cheaper to go with someone who knows what they're doing and get that part done and get it out the way. You touched on something a little bit earlier that I think is important, that is something that businesses should do, especially in like the long-term care space, is that you said that you focus on educating the public
Yes, all the time.
and helping them with the actual process of getting services.
Actually, once having the provider, I still say, you know what, you have your benefits, and you don't know all your rights, but you do have rights. Just because they say, oh, we're going to approve you 10 hours at home. No, you could always appeal that and appeal it. So I'm the one that I'm teaching all of them. You have rights. You could do this, and if the HHA tells you this, you say it's different. That's not like that. So I'm all the time. I even give them more knowledge that they're able to handle. The actual program, when you have the provider and you have the long-term care, there's another actual program that the government pays the caretaker, the family members, and no one knows that.
The consumer-directed
They
program.
never know. They don't know that. So it's like, you know what? If your family member is actually taking care of you at home already, why do you need an HHA from the outside to come and do it? Have them pay them. They're working for you. They're your family. You're helping the house. You're helping your family. And I've been coaching them, and they're actually doing that. That's not something that they tell you. Even when you get approved and you get a provider, they don't even explain that right to you. They don't explain anything.
Right.
So I've been coaching them.
So I think that's a really interesting marketing strategy for you, right? It helps you be known in the community as an expert for something, right? So when people need the help, they come to you. So you have the first contact with all the potential clients to enroll them into your program because you gave them the education, you gave them the assistance to enroll in the program, you're giving them knowledge, and you're advocating for them beyond their families in some
And
cases.
I'm giving knowledge to the family members as well, because they don't know what's out there, and they think that's all there is. An HHA and come and take care of it. No, there's programs that they don't advertise. They don't say.
What are some of the things that you've done in this company to grow from that very first client when you were covering the rent and you only have one paying client to the point that you are now with 22 clients?
There's a lot of competition in this business in Miami, not in here. So what I've been doing, pretty much advertisement. I do a lot of TikTok. I'm not in YouTube like you do because I'm not familiar how to do with that. I do a lot of advertisement with them. I call a lot of companies to come and do stuff for them. I have called the police department to come talk to them about fraud out there, because I've heard many things. They go to the store. Just not long ago, I had a person here that 3 months ago was in the store, Walmart, outside, and this family with 4 kids and in a car came and said, "Oh, you want to buy this jewelry?" And he said, "Oh, sure, but I don't have money here. I have to go to the house." "Oh, hop in." He got in the car with them. He went to his house, and they took his key, and they stole money from him. So there's a lot of fraud out there, and I did that. I called the police for them to come and talk to them in Spanish about the different frauds out there, so they won't make the same mistakes that other people are doing. I've called Kiwanis of Homestead, which is they're a club. They're ladies. They're a club of people that are in the military. I look for things. I don't want them to be. I want my business to be for them to have a little bit of everything. I don't know how to explain. So I contact them for them to do activities for them, and I'm always reaching out and asking for help. I'm always trying to come up with new ideas, how to make them be interested of being here, because it's 8 hours. I mean, it's an hour in the car coming back and coming here and an hour back. And they get bored very easy. If you don't do anything for them, they fall down and they just fall asleep. And I don't want them a day like that. I don't want for them to have a day like that. So I'm always doing for different things for them. Example, I do have some providers are giving me Saturday. I open Saturdays, but really I have like 4 people here sometimes. 4 people. So what I do, I do field trips with them. I go to the Keys. I don't go just to a corner store. No, I go to the Keys. I go to different places. I want them to have an exciting life. After here, I always help some of the people that I have here that they live for themselves. I go and check up on them. Sometimes I wash clothes for them because I don't have nobody to wash the clothes for them. And I'm always thinking of ideas how for them not to be bored and make the day more interested.
What would you say is a day in your life, or what does your week look like? Because you said that you're now open.
Life. I have no life. I don't have a life. And I put up, since the year that I've been doing this, I put on 50 pounds already, which now I already lost 12. I started to take care of me because everything is here. Trying to make it, trying to grow. I wake up at 6 in the morning. I drive myself. I drive a little group. I have 2 buses right now. I have 3 actually. I have 1 in the house parked in there in case one of them breaks. I have a 3rd van in the house. I have no space to park my cars in the house. I have to start making my driveway bigger because I don't have space. So I get up really early in the morning. I pick up some of the participants here. Pick up maybe 4 or 5. I don't do more than that. I bring them here. I do breakfast. I deal with everything they have, the letters, things that they call them for. I deal with the doctors. I deal with the case manager. They call them, they're not answering. I have to make phone calls. Basically, I go home every day at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, pretty much. Because I'm either sitting down and doing my things or doing their things. And I always put them first. So then I have to make my time to do my things here. So I end up staying here sometimes 8 o'clock. And when I do billing sometimes on Sundays, yesterday I left at 12 o'clock because that's my time. I don't want to, when I'm here, I want to be with them. I want to give them attention. I don't want to be just sitting down there doing things. I don't.
Yeah,
it's hard.
That's what it really takes to be an entrepreneur. It's not as sexy as people make it out to be. Mm-hmm. It gets there at some point. After you've built out a business, maybe you have a few locations, you have good management in place, then you can start to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But when you're getting started, you're working, 80 hours a week, easy, 7 days a week. Your life becomes this. And if you don't have like a passion for the people like you do, there's not enough money that you can make in this to really push you to keep going the way that you do. You have to love what you're doing, and you have to be ready to put in for the long haul.
I just want time, exactly. And time is money, basically. Yeah.
If you were given advice to anyone getting started in this business, what would that advice be?
I would advise you to make sure that you do think that this is something that you want to do. Like I said, like you said, it's not, if you think it's 8 to 4 and then that's it, the employees, and you go home. No, you really have to think if this is what you want to do because it's very time consuming. And at the end, you don't, like you said, you don't see the money, you see your efforts, you do see it, but it's like a very slow process. It's a never-ending process, put it this way. This is my first year. I know out there there's people that have 6 years, 5 years. I don't even know how they've done it because I started pretty much after the pandemic was leaving. But imagine before, people were not coming. Sometimes don't come, but if they have like a big, they're sick and they're going, they cannot come because I don't want the other ones to get, sick. So you really have to think about if this is something that you really want. There's so many businesses out there. And I think that if you're not good working with people and you don't have love and patience, you shouldn't do it. Because it takes a lot of patience because they're like little kids. they are like little kids, but you have to love them because they pretty much the people that need help, and not everybody has the heart to give it. And it's not just money. If you're thinking about, oh, you're going to make all this money, not the right job for you.
Enrolling members matters. Being there for them to go through enrolling for Medicaid, getting their waivers set up, getting them into one of the plans like you're using Simply.
The right plan, right.
Yeah.
And then after getting the long-term care, is putting them in the right plan, the one that's not going to, I have a lady, example, she's 84. She has heart failure. She has so many things. Well, you think, oh, I have long-term care, I'm good. No, you have to pick the right plan of long-term care because not all of them are going to, and this I learned myself, learning things in their life. I've learned what works and what doesn't work for them. Pretty much I learned because, example, that lady, she has 10 hours. 10 hours
Yeah.
with I'm not going to say provider names,
Yeah.
with this provider. And they approve her to come 5 days a day to the daycare, but she needs her hours at home. So some providers, they don't want to give that help. They want to take all the money for themselves. Not right. But I've seen it. So I had the daughter gone through the same thing. Her daughter has more problems than the mom, even though she's younger, okay? So I saw the difference right there. I told her, okay, so do not pick that provider. That provider, to my understanding, it's not gonna work for you. Absolutely correct. She went and tried and applied with a new provider. I do not understand, but she gets more hours and more help from the mother. She gets more hours. How could somebody younger? And I've learned it's not just, it's who helps you. Some don't even want to work. Some, they don't care about the person. They have this thing that they have to call back within 48 hours. 24 hours, sorry. They don't even call back. So you have to pick the right provider. And this, not everybody knows.
The amount of work that we have to do as healthcare providers doesn't quite match the money, even though the outside perception is we make a ton of money.
The perception,
The
exactly.
perception is
Right.
that we make a ton of money, but the reality for the work and the pay, it doesn't quite line up. How does Viva Feliz help the community get the services that you provide?
Okay. We help the families, first of all. We help the families with the family member. Because the family members don't know actually the programs that are there, or what works for them and what is not going to work for them. I have a lot of communication. I'm really good at that. I communicate with the family members. I always, right away, I say, who's the one that takes care of you? I mean, to me, the family members and the participants, I make it like my family. That's how I work with them. I explain to them their rights, pretty much. They don't know their rights. I have a lot of people that come here. Pasteur comes here to clinic. Leon comes here to clinic in the area. I have another clinic that comes here. It's called Kano University. They join together. So I always open the doors to them to come and do activities for them. But whenever they come, I always, out of that, I get a phone call asking me how to actually get the program. And I always start from the family member, explaining the process pretty much. And I say, it's a long process. You have to have communication because it's not just getting there and getting the program. It's what comes after that.
How long does it take someone to get services started? If you're starting with somebody from scratch, how long does it take you from beginning to services being turned on?
I heard that before the pandemic, it used to take a year or two, pretty much years. After that, I could pretty much tell you it takes at least 4 months. 4 months, no less than that. You first have to contact them. You have to get in the list to get
An assessment?
an assessment. Thank you, that's the right word. The assessment. So you have to get in the list to get the assessment. Right now in Florida, they have a lot of, they're behind. Pretty much it takes 4 to 6 weeks for them to call you to do the assessment. But then, like I tell them, you have to be prepared. I tell the family member, you need to be prepared. You need to go to the doctor. You need to get all your medical records. You have to get everything together, because the more you show the need, that's the way you're going to get the program. That's why I say whenever you do the assessment, try not for them not to do them by themselves. They're going to forget half of the things they need to say. For the moment, everything that they know they have, they're going to forget that they have it, and they're not going to say it out there. And every little thing counts. I've learned the process, but after you do 10 or 15, you know what works, what doesn't work. Always saying the truth, but you need to know how to do the assessment, because a lot of times you don't get approved. They'll give you, the assessment, it's a 1 to 5, right? The 5 is the higher the need. Going down to 1 is the no need. So every question that you're answering to them is going to count. They're doing like they're assessing the need, right? And everything, and all this, the ADLs, everything that they have to do, the way they eat, the way they take a bath, the way everything. So pretty much, sometimes the family member says, "Oh, I'm the," if you give no help, it's bad. But if you give too much help, it's bad too. You have to be right. You have to know how to answer the questions without lying, of course, but you have to. It's very hard. It's very hard.
I've had
Very
assessments the same way, where a patient who doesn't want to admit that they need help
Exactly, because
will say that they do everything. Like, can you?
Oh, I'm fine. They're not fine.
Yeah.
They're not fine. And that's not, you have to. The way I do it, I tell the family member, get all the medical records. That's where it talks. Your medical records, all the doctors that you've been, all your conditions, but also not just your conditions. Because, example, I could have Alzheimer and my hand shake, right? But then I could not have Alzheimer and have this shaking too. So it's not just the condition that's said by a doctor. Everybody's different, and you have to be able to explain everything to them. This is the way every time I've done an assessment, this is the way I think that I explain to them the way that they understand it. Okay, this is the body, right? Okay, you have to start from the middle of the head. You have any dementia, you forget things, you have to start, every little thing counts. Then you have to do your eye vision. Do you wear glasses? Do you not wear glasses? People are going to say the 10 things that they have, but they're not going to say the rest that they have that comes with the years, and all that helps. So I go, okay, you need glasses, you can see, you cannot see, have you been operated, whatever. Do you hear well? Do you know what's being said to you? Because sometimes half of the assessments, they can't even hear them right. So how can they understand the question? How they're going to give the answer, the right answer? And then I go, do you have fake teeth? Okay, do you have discomfort when you eat? So no one explained this to them like I've had, the family member, that you have to treat it like it's a top to bottom thing. You have to stay with nothing said, because like you mentioned, they'll say, "Oh, I'm fine," but then the family member is in the middle of the assessment, and that's not gonna get them where they need to be.
I think
the papers say that he's not fine. He's not fine.
I think that's a brilliant way to cover the assessment. It is a head-to-toe assessment that they're doing.
It is, but right.
But to educate the member on the same logic of head to toe in a way that they can understand is good. So start from the top of your head and just work your way down and tell them all the problems you have from the top of your head down to your toes.
And to your toes.
So if you can't see, or you can't see in one eye, or you have difficulty hearing,
you have fake teeth,
you can't smell, or you have sinus problems, difficulty swallowing, neck pain,
everything,
shoulder pain,
from top to
can't
bottom.
raise your arms above your head to put on your clothes.
If you don't do it like that, you're not going to pass the assessment. But that's the way that you have to do it, because, example, they'll ask them the question, have you lost weight lately? Oh yeah, I've lost like 10 pounds. Are you doing diet? Or are you not? Like, I'm very familiar with all the questions, and I coach them, to give the right answers, because if you don't explain everything to them, they're not going to understand, they're not going to assess you correctly. So, example, are you not eating? Why you're not eating? Oh, you have fake teeth. Oh, it's discomfort. You're still getting used to them. Oh, that's why you're not eating. You're not swallowing them. And you need help. So you have to handle it like that.
Right.
And they think it's just a call. They're ready for that call. They're sitting down, and next thing you know, I did not get approved. So I start with, you need to get approved. You have all the things that you have all this medical things and you have everything and your age, just, you need it.
And see,
And
and
they
this
don't
is
know how to-
this is the real world experience that we try to capture for the people who are watching, because these are things that you just learn along the way. Because you get to sit with the client
I never knew that.
and
Yeah.
say, this person totally needs services. What went wrong? And they're like, oh, I told them everything was all right. They asked me these
No.
questions, and I didn't want them to think that I was going to be a problem. I said, what? How could you think that? You do have all these problems, and now they think that you're fine because you said you're fine. By running this business and working in this business and working with the people, that's one of the best ways to learn. But also by talking to people who've been through it, they could give you all of that good advice from day one. If somebody's in Homestead looking for an adult daycare service, why should they choose Viva Feliz?
At Vive, Feliz, we do care. We do treat them like family members. We're going to go up and beyond for them, for the family members as well. We're going to coach them in different things that they might need. We're going to help them apply for the food stamps. We're going to help them, apply for the program for light free light, that they don't advertise. I know how to do it. I pretty much help them in everything. Like I said, when I say everything is everything, I take them to the stores on Saturdays. I sometimes I got to the house and I've done laundry for them. The people that live by themselves, the family members don't interact with them. We're gonna make a difference. They're gonna see the difference. They're gonna be happier. In here, we care about how they feel. We care about how they think. We care about teaching them anything. When they come here, they told me, oh, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. With Maria, I've learned a lot because whatever I know, I teach them. So they could apply it to maybe a family member, a neighbor, or somebody that's also in their need. And they'll say, look, this person, he's dying, he's feeling really bad in the house, and he doesn't know what to do. And I already told him, he needs to call Alliance, he needs to, so they're pretty much, they're helping other people as well. I'm giving them knowledge, and knowledge is power.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Maria.
Difficult.